Hello everyone, welcome to iQuanta. My name is Nitin. I'm sure all of you are doing great. Guys, this is the second video of profit and loss. In the first video when we had met, we had done some basic concept and some important applications as well. In this video also we'll be doing some concepts of profit and loss with some wonderful applications. So let's start with the first concept of the day. The concept is that when the selling price of two articles is same. This is one of the most important concepts. Guys, the concept says what? When the dealer sells one article at X percentage profit and the other at X percentage loss, and the selling price of both the articles is same, then overall the dealer will always face a loss, and that loss percentage is also we can find it out, that is x squared upon 100 percentages. All right, we can prove this theorem as well, but it's not required. Let me read this again. The first condition is that the selling price of the article should be same. Second condition is that one should be sold at the profit, other should be sold at loss. Third condition, the magnitude of the profit percentage and loss percentage has to be same. If let's say this is 10%, 10%, both are 10%, only then this application will work. If one is 10%, other is 20%, this application will not work. Let me represent an example as well. Suppose guys, there are two articles which are being sold at the same selling price, all right, but one is sold at 10% as its profit, right, and the other one is being sold, let's say, at 10% as its loss, right? So what will happen in all? So guys, in all, as I said, the formula says what? See, one is being sold at X percent as profit, other is X percent as loss. So in all, there will be, X squared upon 100% as loss, right? So in this example, I took X as 10. So always there will be a loss, right? And what should be the loss? All right, let me write this. Always loss of X squared upon 100, where X is 10 in this example. So it should be 10 squared upon 100%, which you can also say as 100 upon 100. That means 1% is loss, right? Okay, so let's take the second example now. Similarly, let's say next time there is 20% profit in one article and 20% loss in selling the other article, and yes, the main condition is that the selling price of both the articles has to be same, right? So in this case, overall there will be a loss of how much? Okay, the value of X in this example have taken 20, so it should be 20 squared upon 100%. 20 square we can say is 400. 400 upon 100 is 4%. So in all, there must be a loss of 4%. All right. Now let's learn some application of this. So guys, if I ask the question that find the profit or loss percentages, it will be too easy for you, right? So I have brought a question in which they're asking the amount of the profit or loss, right? Let's see the question. The question says a man sells two articles at same selling price of 182 each, one at a profit of 30%, other at a loss of 30%. Now find the amount of his profit or loss. All right. So guys, if you do not know this concept, then also we can solve, but it will be a lengthy solution. Let me do that solution first, right? So first article, in fact, both the articles are being sold at 182 each, right? But first one is sold at 30% profit, other is sold at 30% loss. So the cost prices of both the article will be different, obviously. So by using this, we can find the cost price of both the articles, right? Let me show you how. So first one is being sold at 30% is profit, right? Let's say the cost price of this article is CP1, okay, and sold at a selling price which is actually rupees 182. All right. Now the second one is being sold at a loss of 30%. Let's say the CP is CP2. It is sold at 30% loss, and its selling price is also 182. All right. Now what? Now by using this, we can find the cost price of both the articles. Let me show you how. In this case, there is a 30% is profit, so the multiplication factor has to be 13 by 10. What is multiplication factor? We have discussed this in the first video, profit and loss, in detail. You can check it if you are watching it for the first time, right? So multiplication factor here is 13 by 10. It's equal to, we'll say, selling price, which is 182. All right. Similarly, in the second case, there is a loss of 30%. That means the multiplication factor has to be 7 by 10. All right. And we can say this has to be the selling price, which is again 182. Now guys, by the help of these two equations, we can easily find the cost price of both the articles. For the first article, we'll say the CP1 is 182 into 10 by 13, right? Now what it should be? See, 182 by 13 should be divisible. Let me check. 18 by 13 is 1, and then 5, 52. Yes, 13 4s is 52. So it should be how much? It should be 14. 14 into 10 is 140. So the cost price for the first article is 140 rupees. Let me check for the second one as well. So we can say the cost price of the second article is rupees 182 into 10 by 7. Okay, let's say is this divisible by 7 or not. So 182 by 7, it's going twice. 14 and then going 6 times, so it should be 26. 26 into 10 will give us 260 rupees. So guys, the cost price of the first article is 140 and for the second article is 260. So this is how we can find, the total cost price, which should be how much? 140 plus 260 is rupees 400. And what about the total selling price? Remember, the selling price of each article is given 182. So the total selling price has to be 182 into 2, which should be, 364. All right. This is how we can find, that there is a loss overall because cost is more than selling price. And the amount of loss should be CP minus SP, which is rupees 36. Simple, right? Now let's move to the next method, which we can solve with the help of this concept. Let's see how we can make this easy with the help of using this concept. All right, remember this concept says the selling price of two articles should be same, which is same in this question. One should be sold at a profit, other is at a loss, which is happening here. Both, the percentages of profit and loss should be same in magnitude. For example, here 30% profit and the other 30% loss. So this condition is also applicable. So we can directly find out the percentages of, loss, right? What should be the percentage of loss? The formula says x squared upon 100, where x in this case is 30, right? So it should be 30 squared upon 100, which we can further say as what? So it should be, 900 by 9, or we can say 9% is loss, right? So that means, guys, in this process, the shopkeeper is facing 9% is loss, right? So we can say what? We can say selling price has to be how much? Selling price should be 91% of the cost price, right? And we know the selling price, the total selling price, in fact, because this time, we are dealing with the overall transaction. So I should write total selling price and total cost price, right? Total selling price we can say is how much? Remember, the selling price of one article is 182. So for the two articles has to be 182 into 2. All right, this should be 91% of the total cost price. Now by the help of this we can find the amount of the total cost price as well. See, it's 91% is, we can say 91 by 100, right? 91 you can see is getting divisible but getting cancelled with 182. 91 twos is basically 182, right? So this should be rupees 4, and we can say this is equal to 1% or 1 by 100 of the total CP. Now we can say the total CP is how much? Guys, the total CP has to be rupees 400, okay? And we know the total selling price is, the same way like we did in the last method, that is twice of 182, which means we can say 364. And again, the loss has to be rupees 36. All right, so this is how, we can solve this question in these two ways. I'm sure you will like the second method more. But guys, there can be the scenarios when the selling price is same of both the articles. One is sold at the profit, other is sold at a loss, but the magnitude of the percentage is not same. So for that, I have one more question for you, right? Question number 2. Let's see the question. The question says that a man sells two articles at the same selling price, one at a profit of 25%, other at a loss of 20%. Now we need to find the overall profit or loss percentage. First thing, we don't even know whether it is profit or loss. In the last case, we were sure because, the magnitude of the percentages were same. But in this case, we do not. It's okay, but we can find it out. Let me show you the way. We just know the selling price is same. We do not know the value of the selling price. That's why they're not asking the amount of the profit or loss. They're only asking the percentage of profit or loss, right? Okay, guys, we can just assume the things. Once again, let's say the cost price of the first article is CP1, all right? And it is being sold at 25% profit, and we get a selling price, right? Okay, similarly, the second one is being sold at the loss of 20%. And again, we get some selling price, right? Now, by the help of these two, we can find out some equations, right? Just like we did in the previous question as well, using the multiplication factor, right? So here, 25% is profit means the multiplication factor has to be 5 by 4. It has to be the selling price, right? This we can say as equation number 1, all right? Now, in the second case, there is a loss of 20%. So we can say the multiplication factor has to be 4 by 5. And this is also, equal to the selling price. Now, remember, guys, in both these transactions, the selling price is being same as it is given, right? So we can say the right-hand side of both the equations is actually the same. If the right-hand side is same, we can say the left side should be same as well. So we can say by using equation 1 and 2, the left-hand side should be same. That means, CP1 into 5 by 4 should be CP2 into 4 by 5. Now by using this, we can find a relation between both the CPs, right? Very easy. Or we can say we can find the ratios of them. So we can say what, guys? CP1, divided by CP2 is equals to 5 by 4 goes here. So that will come 16 upon 25. All right. So this is how we found the ratio between both the CPs. Now guys, with the help of these CPs, we can assume the things. All right. With the help of this ratio, we can say that let CP1 is how much? Is rupees 16, just an assumption. And let's say the CP2 is how much? Is 25 by using this ratio. All right. Now remember guys, the first one is sold at 25% is profit. We can use this point or we can use this also. In both the cases, we'll get the same selling price, obviously. So selling price is, for the first one is, should be 25% is more than the cost price. So guys, 25% of 16 is 4. 4 adding to this coming to rupees 20. Same, you can check for the second one also, though we know the selling price of both are same, but still you can check it. The second one is sold at a loss of 20%, right? So 20% of the second cost price is how much? 20% of 25 is 5. 5 loss, that means the selling price is, is still 20. If you write 1, you don't need to, you don't need to calculate for the second, because obviously in this question the selling price of both is actually the same. Now coming to the total cost and total selling price. So what is the total cost price, guys? Total cost price will say 16 plus 25 is 41. And what is the total selling price? We can say 20 plus 20 is rupees 40, right? So finally we can find out that what is happening here, it's overall a profit or loss. We can also calculate the profit or loss percentage which the shopkeeper is facing, right? You can see guys, overall cost price is more than the selling price. That means the shopkeeper is facing a loss. Loss of how much? Loss of rupees 1. Fine. Now it is about the loss percentages. So loss percentage we can say is loss upon CP. The loss is of rupees 1 and the cost price is rupees 41. So the last thing you have to calculate that 1 is what percentage of 41. We can multiply it by 100 to do the calculation, right? So we can say this is what? This is 100 upon 41 percentage. So this is the last thing, in terms of the calculation. We can say how much? 100 upon 41 going twice, right? 82. Then the remainder is 18, 180 going thrice something. So you can say 2.3 or 2.4 percentage profit approximately. All right guys, we can just say this is approximately 2.4 percentage loss, not profit, loss. So this is how we can solve this wonderful question as well, right? Now guys, the next concept which you are going to learn in this chapter is the profit and loss margin percentages. Now what is this? We all have heard profit percentage, loss percentage. Now there is a new thing which is called profit margin percent and loss margin percentage. Nothing difficult, just with a small change. Guys, what is profit margin percentage? Profit margin percent is that the profit is what percentage of selling price. What is profit percentage? We have done it before. Profit percentage means that profit is what percentage of cost price, but profit margin percent means that profit is what percentage of the selling price. That's the only change, guys. All right. Let me take a data and let me explain you. Let's say, we have an article which is being bought at rupees 100, but it is being sold at rupees 120, right? So what is the profit over here? Obviously the profit is rupees 20. Very simple. Now let's say we have to find the profit percentage, right? So profit percentage is what, guys? That profit is what percentage of the cost price, right? Profit upon cost price we can say is basically the profit percentage. The profit in this case is 20 and cost price is how much? 100. So we just need to find out that 20 is what percentage of 100, which we can further say as 20%, right? Now, second thing, we have to find the profit margin percentage. What is profit margin percentage, guys? Profit margin percentage we can say is that profit is what percentage of the selling price, all right? Let me write this. This is basically profit is what percentage of the selling price. What is profit in this case? The profit in this case is 20 and the selling price in this case is 120. So in the end, we just have to find that 20 is what percentage of 120, which we can further say as 1 by 6, which we can say as 16.66%. So this is how we calculate the profit margin percentages, right? Similarly, we can learn about the loss margin percentage, right? Just like, profit margin percentage we discussed, profit margin percent is what? That profit is what percentage of selling price. Similarly, loss margin percentage is that loss is what percentage of the selling price, right? So let's take the same kind of example, right? Let's say the cost price of the article, which the shopkeeper has bought is rupees 100, but he sells this time at a loss because, we want to discuss loss margin percent. So let us, make some losses this time. Selling price, let's say, is 80, less than the cost price. What is the amount of the loss this time? The amount of loss is obviously 20 rupees, which we can obviously see that. Now, we need to find, the loss percentages first. Remember, guys, loss percent is what? That loss is what percentage of the CP. We have discussed this so many times. So loss in this question is 20 and CP in this example is 100. The 20 is what percentage of 100? Obviously 20% is, right? Okay, now let's discuss about the loss margin percentage. So loss margin percent, as we discussed, is that loss what percentage of the SP, all right? Loss in this example we have taken as rupees 20 and SP we have taken in this example as rupees 80. So we have to find out that 20 is what percentage of 80, which means 1 by 4, which means 25%. So guys, in this case, you saw that the loss margin percentage came to be 25%. Not very difficult, right? Now let's try some simple question based on this concept. The first question says that the profit margin percent of the salesman is this. Find the profit margin percentages. We can do it very easily. Okay, so the question is saying that profit percent is 25%, right? Profit percentage means that's something which is calculated with respect to the cost price, right? So we can say what, guys, that profit this time has to be 25% of the cost price, because in this question they are only talking about the profit percentage, right? Since this is with respect to the cost price, it's better to assume the cost price first, right? So let's say the cost price, everybody, let's say the cost price is rupees 100, right? Now, what is the amount of the profit? We can say the profit has to be, 25% of the CP. CP is 100, so obviously 25% of 100 has to be 25, right? Now, what about the selling price, guys? In this case, the selling price is CP plus profit has to be, 125, all right? Now, the final thing is to calculate the profit margin percentages. What is profit margin percentage? That profit is what percentage of the selling price, all right? So, we can say what? We just need to calculate that profit is what percentage of selling price in the end. Profit is being 25 and selling price is being 125 in this question. So it should come up 25 upon 125, all right, which we can say is 1 upon 5, which we can say in the end as 20%. Simple as that, right? Simple question. All right, let's move to the next, question on the same concept. This time, guys, we are given the profit margin percentages and we need to calculate the profit percentage. Read the question. They're saying the profit margin percent of a salesman is 25. Then find out the profit percentage of the shopkeeper, right? Okay, profit margin percentage, I just taught you that this is something which is calculated with respect to the selling price, right? So if they have given that profit margin percentage is 25, that means profit is 25% of the selling price, because this is profit margin percentage, right? So let me write this statement first. In this question, we'll say that profit is 25% of the selling price. So it is better to assume the selling price first so that, the solution will be easier. Let us say the selling price in this case is rupees 100, all right? Let's just say the selling price is 100. Now, what will be the amount of the profit? The amount of profit, as I said above, it should be 25% of the selling price. Selling price in this case is rupees 100. So 25% of 100 should be also 25, right? Now, guys, what is the cost price? Remember, in case of profit, cost price is always less than the selling price. That difference is always the profit, obviously. So the cost price should be SP minus profit, 100 minus 25, which means 75. All right, last thing, we need to find the profit percentage this time. So profit percent is something that profit is what percentage of the cost price, right? Let me calculate the last thing. Profit percentage, that profit is what percentage of CP. I don't need to write this, right? Profit is 25. CP in this case is 75. So this is basically 1 by 3, and 1 by 3 we can say is nothing but 33.33%. So in this case, we'll say that profit percent is coming 33.33% is simple question. I'm sure you will also find this easy now. Third question, it says the loss margin percent is 20% and find the loss percent. Just like the last problem, guys, the only change this time, they have given the loss margin percentages. Again, margin percent means must be calculated with respect to the selling price. So we can say one thing, that loss must be, 20% of the selling price, because they have given the loss margin percentages, right? So let us assume the selling price first. Let's say the selling price is rupees 100. Okay. Now the amount of losses must be, 20% of the selling price. Selling price is obviously 100. So 20% of 100 is rupees 20. Such a simple thing, right guys? What should be the cost price? See, this time the shopkeeper is facing the loss. That means the cost price should be more than the selling price. Difference should be the losses, obviously. So CP is SP plus loss. That means 120 rupees. All right. Final thing, we need to find the loss percentage in the end. Loss percent means that loss is what percentage of CP. Loss is 20, okay, and CP is 120. So we just have to calculate that 20 is what percentage of 120, which you can say as 1 by 6. And 1 by 6 finally is 16.66%. That means there is a loss of 16.66% in this particular question, right? So guys, this was, the third question of this concept. And this is the last concept of this video as well, last question of this video. Now, in the next video, we'll be coming with, some more concept like you can say markup, discount series, and based on cheating in profit and loss, right? So guys, this is all for this video. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much. Take care and keep, studying. Bye-bye.